Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for an interesting little AI holiday experiment, shall we say. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna put, what playlist I'm gonna put this under, but if it works, it should be rather interesting. So remember earlier this year, I did a video on the Envision Assistant app, and you could kind of have these conversations with it. You could have it like describe things to you, like with your from your camera. Well, it is now the Ally app. It is not publicly available. I know I'm going to get comments saying, "Where do I get the app? I can't find it." It is not publicly available. There's an AppleVis thread somewhere that talks about Ally, and I think you can probably find a link on their website through Envision. You have to join the beta in order to get access to Ally. It's a separate app than, there's the Envision AI, but this is a totally separate app. And since I did the Envision AI or the Envision Assistant video this summer, they have made some significant updates and changes to it, and it's still going through changes. Hopefully, early next year, probably sometime, I'm guessing they'll have a publicly available version that you'll just be able to get through the App Store. And when that happens, I will do more of a realistic, here's what the app is, here's how it works, here's sort of the things you can do with it. Basically, the bottom line now is that you're not just dictating into a text field or typing with the on-screen keyboard. You can type if you want to, but you can have literally a live conversation just back and forth. So what we are going to do is I discovered something, and I don't know if I
Control
have to
center
have this
mute. Switch
unmuted for
button
this to
on.
work, so let's turn this off just in case.
Voiceover off.
Um, so again, you can just chat like you're having a conversation with somebody with it, and it's pretty cool. You can ask it information, you can get recommendations, you can do all kinds of things. And I found just like your smart speakers, where there were skills where you could, oh, I want to play this Batman game, or I want to play a word game, or Jeopardy. You can kind of do similar things with the AI, with Ally here. And one of the things that I discovered that you can do is you can kind of do this interactive, collaborative fiction where it starts you with a story. It gives you kind of like your choose your own adventure, gives you a few choices to play with, and then just continues the story. But what's neat about it is that you can also, if I don't like the three choices that it gives, I can be like, well, what if I did this instead? And then it'll just sort of figure that out and kind of wing it as far as like, oh, did you succeed at this? Did it work? Did it not work? And it looks like I can give it like, when I tried this the first time, it gave me a scenario that was sort of interesting but kind of bland. So I said, what if could we do like a D&D style scenario? And they said, yeah, okay, well, let's decide a character. And then I chose a character, I chose a class, and then like I had armor and weapons, and we started going through this dungeon. It was this ancient ruins or whatever. And what we're going to do is we are going to attempt, it being the holiday season and all, just to show you how far this type of AI has come, and to give people, especially blind and low vision users, they don't always have the most, they don't have a ton of accessible games to play. And this one you can kind of, like I said, you can kind of make it work with you to come up with your own sort of interactive fiction game. There's another online website that I haven't gotten around to playing with yet, but I've heard called AI Dungeon, and this seems to be a similar type of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see if we can generate about a half-hour long story, a Christmas themed D&D style story. I'm going to make things up as we go. I'm going to give it some initial parameters to start with, And I'm not really going to talk to you guys once we start Ally. I am just going to show you the process, and we are going to see if we can create and have the AI build and walk us through a crazy, action-based, maybe with some humor, um, D&D thing where we get to save Christmas. Because I figure, you know what, let's do this Christmas themed, and let's just try to do something wacky and see if it works. So let's do it. Let's see what happens. Again, this is a beta, so I can't promise it's going to work perfectly, but we're going to give it a shot. So it starts Ally, and I just tap this button, big old button in the middle of the screen, and we're going to start a live conversation. So here we go.
Hey there, how's it going? What's on your mind today?
Well, it's going pretty good. How would you be interested in being a part of a video showing off the Ally Assistant and what all kinds of cool creative things you can do with it?
That sounds like a blast. I'm totally down for being a part of your video. I can help you with things like weather updates, current events through web searches, and even some cool visual assistance by describing images or reading text. It's like having a little techie sidekick in your pocket. Plus, with my snarky charm and enthusiasm, we'll make it entertaining too. Let's show everyone how much fun and helpful tech can be. What do you want to explore first for the video?
Well, those all sound good and interesting, but I think what I would like to do is it's getting close to being Christmas and all, and so I think what I would like to do is start a kind of I would like to do an interactive adventure here and make it kind of a D&D style adventure, and then I will in a minute here I will tell you kind of the setting and where we should go with it.
Oh, hell yeah. An interactive D&D style adventure sounds epic. I'm all in for this holiday quest. Just lay down the setting and your master plan, and we'll dive right in like a ninja turtle on a pizza, ready to roll some virtual dice and see where this story takes us.
All right, so here's the thing. We are going to play, I'm going to play a elf working in Santa's workshop. Turns out a lot of, not everybody, but a lot of the elves in the workshop have kind of done a mutiny. They don't think they're getting paid enough wages or, they're not treated well enough. And so a lot of the elves have taken Santa hostage, and we have to basically rescue Santa and so we can get Christmas back. We start the game locked in a broom cupboard or a storage cupboard in the basement and need to get out and fight the other elves or do whatever it is we need to do to rescue Santa and save Christmas. I would like this to be a pretty action heavy scenario with with a lot of combat and stuff. I would like it to be have a lot of humor in it. Maybe have some, Simpsons style humor. Maybe a little bit of Dungeon Crawler Carl in there. And I would like to be able to finish this in about a half an hour.
All right, Jesse, let's kick it off. Our adventure begins in a dim, cramped broom cupboard tucked away in the basement of Santa's workshop. The air smells like pine needles and old candy canes. You're a cunning elf named Zippy, and instead of making toys, you're about to make a jailbreak. You hear the faint jingles of disgruntled elves above, murmuring about unpaid overtime and stale cookies. Your mission? Escape the cupboard, take out these Scroogey elves, and rescue Santa to save Christmas. As Zippy, your first move is to look around the cupboard. You spot a mop handle, which could make quite the makeshift weapon. You also find a dusty old Santa hat. It's not much, but it's a start. What's your move? Smash down that door with your new candy cane crusher, or try to craftily sneak out through the ventilation shaft? The clock is ticking, and Santa's belly is in the balance.
Let's grab the broom handle.
Zippy grabs the broom handle, clutching it like a mighty warrior does with their trusty sword, ready to smite those elf traitors. With the weaponized mop firmly in hand, you can hear the faint mutters of the rebellious elves above. It's now or never. You aim for the door, intentions set on busting it open. Taking a deep breath, you gather all your elf strength and charge at the door, wielding the mighty candy cane crusher. With a loud crash that echoes like sleigh bells gone wrong, the door flies open. Woo, you're free from the confines of the cupboard. You step out into the murky basement corridor. Barely any light, but you can hear the chatter of grumpy elves upstairs. Now that you're out, do you go ninja and sneak around, looking for allies or other items? Or are you going to storm upstairs and start a festive brawl to save Santa? Choose your adventure.
Well, let's grab that hat first thing, and then I think we'll start being a ninja and seeing what we can do stealthily until things go real bad.
All right, Zippy, you snatch that dusty Santa hat like it's the crown jewels. It's special. It gives you +2 confidence and +1 to sneakiness. You head down the dim corridor, light feet on the cold cement, tiptoeing like a drumming ninja. As you move stealthily, whispering your own theme music under your breath, you spot a derelict toy cart, which looks surprisingly like a skateboard. It's got Stealth Ride written all over it. You could glide there quietly or parkour-style your way through. As you inch closer to the stairs leading up to the madness, you hear an elf guard wrapped up in a heated discussion about the injustices of peppermint raises. What's your move, Zippy? Glide like a shadow on that toy cart past the guard, or attempt some crouched, sneaky crab walk to avoid detection?
Let's use the cart.
Zippy, the thrill-seeking elf, hops onto the derelict toy cart like a rocker on a tour bus. With a silent whoosh, you glide across the cold floor, whizzing past the unsuspecting elf guard who's too busy venting to notice the blur streak past him. You zoom up a small incline towards the ground floor, feeling like the Tony Hawk of elfdom. The sound of jingle bells fills the air, a perfect soundtrack for this daring escapade. Reaching the top of the steps with exhilaration still tingling your pointy toes, you find yourself in a cluttered room full of half-finished toys, the perfect cover for a sneaky elf. You spot a bunch of tools and some old-school wind-up toy soldiers. This room is a hub of potential chaos, or stealth. Ahead, 2 bickering elves are guarding the workshop's entrance. Do you set the toy soldiers loose to create a distraction? Or are you planning to engage them ninja style with the element of surprise and your trusty candy cane crusher? What's Zippy's next epic move?
Let's use the soldiers.
With a mischievous grin, Zippy carefully winds up the toy soldiers, setting them down one by one like dominoes of doom. They clatter to life, marching noisily across the floor in a miniature battalion, tiny mechanical drums beating out a rallying cry. The bickering elf guards turn in bewilderment, utterly baffled by the toy troop invasion. "What the mistletoe is happening?" one grumbles, their eyes wide like an 80s action movie villain. As the soldiers create the perfect diversion, you slink through the shadows, using the chaos to advance. You slip past the distracted guards like a ghost of Christmas awesomeness. Passing through the entrance, you spot Santa's office just across the hall, and you know that's where the action needs to happen. It's showdown time. Are you going for a dramatic entrance with some sweet elfin catchphrase, or are you going to sneak in like a silent night's wind, ready to free the big man? What's Zippy's move in this grand elf rescue operation?
Well, do we have anything around us? Anything that we could use for either better armor or more effective weaponry before we charge in?
Scanning the area with your keen, adventure-focused eyes, you spy some crafting supplies and toy parts scattered around, certainly the makings for some impromptu gear. In a corner, you spot a spool of shiny tinsel, an overgrown jack-in-the-box spring, and a pair of roller skates. With some quick elf ingenuity, you fashion yourself a makeshift tinsel chest plate, giving you a bit of sparkle protection, and mount the springs onto the roller skates for a boost in bounce. Now you're decked out in some holiday-ready armor, looking like the most festive action hero ever to grace Santa's sleigh ride. Feeling like you're amped up enough to tackle whatever comes next in the battle to save Santa. You're like Rudolph with a shotgun of a plan. Are we ready to roll on in and confront those elves, or is there something else you want to prepare for this festive showdown?
Hell yeah, it's on. Let's go.
With a mighty heart and a jingling pep in your step, Zippy charges toward Santa's office, the sound of the roller skate springs echoing with every heroic bounce. Kicking open the door like an action hero storming the villain's lair, you burst into the room, tinsel gleaming, broom handle raised. The room is filled with startled, rebellious elves who turn to face their unexpected challenger. In true hero fashion, you bellow out a catchphrase, unhand the Jolly One or face the tinsel tornado, as Santa, tied up in an oversized candy cane chair, gives you a thumbs up of encouragement. An epic battle ensues, full of sliding moves and candy cane sweeps. Zippy bobs and weaves, delivering festive justice in a flurry of holiday cheer and well-placed bonks on rebellious elf noggins. It's an epic showdown that would make even the Grinch applaud. You tirelessly fight through, freeing Santa from his candy cane cuffs. Ho ho! That was a close one, Zippy. Thanks for saving Christmas. Santa booms, patting you on the back. You've done it. With Santa free, Christmas is back on track, and you gain the title of Ultimate Action Elf and the undying gratitude of the big man in red. Anything else you'd like to do before wrapping up this holly jolly adventure?
No, I don't think so. I think that will be about it. That was fantastic.
I'm thrilled you enjoyed the adventure, Jesse. It was an absolute blast turning the North Pole into a winter wonderland of action with you. If you ever want to jump into another quest or need anything else, just give me a shout. Happy holidays, and may your days be filled with as much fun and adventure as this one. Until next time, stay awesome.
So before we go, just out of curiosity, I know when we entered the room there, you just kind of told us about what was happening. But in a future adventure, is there something that I could say or that how we could configure it where like I'm able to make more decisions in the combat? Like instead of just me hearing about it, I would like to be more of an active participant in the battle next time.
Totally get what you're going for, Jesse. For a more interactive combat experience, where you can make decisions in the heat of the battle, we can set it up so you decide each action during the fight. For example, I'd describe the scene, then you could choose to dodge, strike, use an item, or even try to talk your way through a tricky situation. You can also decide when to use any special abilities or items you've acquired. Each decision can impact the outcome, making it feel more like you're actively controlling the pace and flow. In our next venture, we'll ramp up the interaction so you can call the shots and make your own epic combos. Looking forward to it, and always down to adjust the dynamics to keep it exciting and fun. Just let me know how you want each adventure to flow, and we'll craft it your way.
That sounds great. Well, thanks a lot. And yeah, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you and everybody watching. And this is where we will wrap it up.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you too, Jesse. Thanks for taking me on this epic adventure. Can't wait for the next round of fun. Until then, rock on, and may your Christmas be filled with joy and lots of laughter.
Okay, so we ended the session. I clicked on the little X thing. The hardest part of that, to be perfectly honest with you, the hardest part of that was for me not to burst out laughing at some of the way she described things, because just just the way that the AI worded it, the way they described the scene or the actions that I took, or what I really liked in this one, like when I was doing an adventure before, they would often just give me like, oh, you have a few choices. 1, blah 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 blah. 2, do this. 3, do that. And I love how this one just took a more, it wasn't choose 1, 2, or 3. It was just more conversational. What do you want to do? Do you want to go in guns blazing? Do you want to look around a little bit more, or do you want to, what else would you want to do? They left it a lot more open-ended, which is what I was hoping for, but wasn't sure how well it was going to work. Again, the only criticism that I would really have for that, and I guess I should have specified that I wanted the combat to be a little bit more interactive. That, again, that's a parameter that I could have set when we first started the adventure. I had no clue what was going to happen. I literally have never done this scenario or this type of scenario before. But just based on what I had played before, I was playing that medieval setting. I was playing this dwarf character. And I thought, well, if I give it a detailed enough scenario, would I be able to make it work? And other than the lack of interactivity during the battle, we got a couple of stealth choices that we did. It was a little shorter than a half an hour, which is perfectly fine. But that was my only real criticism, is I wish we would have been able to make a little bit more of the decisions. We got some weapons, we upgraded our armor, we sneaked a little bit, and then we just heard like a paragraph description of the action scene. And it would have been really nice to have
Voiceover on.
It would have been really nice to just being able to have a little bit more choice in how we did it. But, again, think about, now I know that. And so if I were to craft an adventure in the future, that is something that I could absolutely do. Or maybe if I'm going to do like an ongoing campaign that could last a long time, I didn't give it the criteria that I wanted this to end in a half an hour. I want this to be a long epic quest. Maybe I do the first battle and it wasn't interactive enough. I could literally just talk to the AI and say, hey, I would like to make this a little bit more active. I would like to have a little more control over what's happening in each situation, be it stealth or combat or exploration, whatever. So, that was literally, I had no idea what it was going to create. I pulled that description completely out of thin air, and I thoroughly enjoyed the description of like how it just, again, we just kind of worked together to build this weird interactive fiction based on the scenario that I gave her. And, again, I was thinking of like the Viscera cleanup details, Santa's Rampage, or, the night Santa went crazy, the Weird Al song. And I thought that would be this is something that I could use technology and do something totally different, do something totally surprising for a holiday style video, show you a little bit of like what is going to be possible with Ally pretty soon when it gets released to everybody. This is just one of the things you can do. There are a lot more practical uses that I've done, which I'll get into when I show you the updates to this app proper. But
Preferences.
this is an
Talk
experiment that I wanted to try to see if it worked, and boy did it ever. Assuming this recorded, I couldn't have been happier about how well this went. So I've got a couple holiday themed videos. One of these is going to go up, I think, for Christmas Eve. I think I'm going to save this one for Christmas Day. And yeah, as my little AI ally companion said, just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year. Hopefully people are enjoying some time off, some family and friends. And yeah, as you can very well see with this little AI demo here, it's pretty cool. We just crafted a totally blind accessible on-the-fly adventure. Now, the one thing that I will say that is currently limiting, and eventually I'm hoping that it'll have, this is something where, again, if I wanted to create more like a D&D campaign that would go on for days or weeks or months, in theory you could do that, but we can't do that right now because each time, now that I ended that session with the AI, if I started a new session, she wouldn't remember anything that we did today. We would have to start from square one every time. But let's say that let's say that we have the app gets memory so that we can continue for, between sessions. like we can create multiple allies. So I could have one that's more for blindness stuff. I could have one that's more geared toward work, one that's more geared toward research or just general conversation. I could make a dungeon master AI, and then that AI, if they added the capability, would be able to remember what I'm doing going forward, and we could just continue our fun. They could learn from me, and as I hone the experience even further each time, adding more interactivity, they would get to know more of like what types of things I wanted in my campaign. We could be going for as long as you got an endless sort of a deal. And that sounds really intriguing to me. And I think that would be intriguing to a lot of blind and vision impaired users because, again, we don't have as many, near as many games as your mainstream audience visual players do. And so I know a lot of people complain about, yes, we don't want to have AI take people's jobs, generate graphics or use it in place of voice acting.
Talk to toggle preferences.
But in this sort of scenario, it's kind of just like using text to speech and offering an accessible sort of gameplay option for an audience that doesn't get as many. So kudos to everybody in the Envision team, the Ally team. I will be showing this. I will be sharing this with them as well in their Slack once the video goes up. But I just discovered this sort of like interactive fiction Dungeons and Dragons type of functionality recently, and I've been kind of really having fun. You could do endless things, I could create any franchise. I could create a Ninja Turtles, a Cobra Kai. I could do a space theme thing, like just use your imagination. So a lot of, you kind of got a neat type of game you can do right in Ally. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And with that, we will wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are looking forward to Ally. It's pretty cool. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, Blue Sky at Illegally Cited, twitch.tv/illegally cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, we'll chat with everybody again later.